Raphael, how tired are you right now to talk about Harry Kane?
No,
Nah.
not that tired yet, because I think we're heading towards a inflection point. I think people say we will, I think, soon stop talking about Harry Kane, at least as far as the transfer is concerned. This week is the unofficial deadline for this to happen. Bayern are running out of time. We'll try one more time. As we record, it's Wednesday morning. I think by tomorrow, we will probably see one more attempt from Bayern to make this happen. Harry Kane has said that he wants to move before the new season starts in England, which is at the weekend. That doesn't leave a lot of time for Bayern. And financially, it's going to be very difficult to pull this off. I'm quite pessimistic, but they're still talking. And of course, for Bayern, he's been their number one target all summer. If they can't pull this off, then they'll have to scramble and, I think, go for Randal Kolo Muani of Frankfurt, who's the fallback option, because they desperately need a centre forward. You might say that in pre-season they've looked very good without one. Mathis Tel doing a good job, the wingers being quite dangerous, Jamal Musiala getting back to his best. But I think last season has shown us the value of a big centre forward, and Bayern would really, really need one.
But why are you pessimistic? I mean, Tottenham Hotspurs, is it easy for them to wave goodbye to 100 million euros?
No, it's not. And they're not in Europe. And of course, they can use the money to invest and build a new team with Ange Postecoglou taking over. But at the same time, there is, of course, that maybe it's not a plan, but it's an ambition or a hope to say, once Harry Kane stays in September, October, November, maybe the season's going well, then they sit down in December and maybe he will decide to stay after all and not run down his contract. It's a huge risk. You can lose a lot of money. At the same time, you will have Harry Kane for one more season. Of course, you and I would probably say we have to sell, but Daniel Levy might see things differently. And if he feels that he's not extracting maximum value from a possible transfer, then he might just say no. I mean, Bayern thought that they could get him for 80, 90 million euros. They didn't get close to an agreement. Now they'll have to pay more. It could be that even 110 million euros or 120 million euros is not enough. At which point they'll have to take the money and drive it to Frankfurt.
a good position for Eintracht Frankfurt, actually. But before we talk about that, you're living in London. I guess some of your friends are Tottenham supporters. What are they saying about it? Are they like, we pray that he stays because he is one of our great talismanic players, he is one of the best we ever had, and so on? Or are they frustrated because, as you said, Harry Kane has several times said that he would like to leave for Bayern, or at least it made the impression as if he had said it. But what's the mood around this from Tottenham fans?
Well, I think, first of all, you have to say that Harry Kane has played it really well in terms of a PR strategy, because unlike 2 years ago, where he went on the record saying, I want something different, I want to change, and everyone knew he was talking to Man City, this time around, he's been saying off the record, I'd like to move, but if it doesn't work out, I'm happy to stay also. So he's not been pushing. He's not been saying, I need to leave, I need to get out of here. And he's been quite passive. And I think Spurs fans find it easy to relate to that because they understand why he would want to play in the Champions League, why he wants to win trophies. But because he seems so relaxed about it, and because he's been letting it known that he likes the new coach and he can see himself also staying, you don't get a lot of resentment towards him at the moment. And in the end, it's going to be similar to what might be in Daniel Levy's mind. Once he stays, maybe there's a chance to win him over. Maybe, Spurs are really rejuvenated and are being transformed the way Arsenal have been transformed under Arteta, and suddenly Kane realizes, oh, we can be competitive and we can win, and then they stay. So they're still, I think, quite hopeful that this will have a happy ending. And if it doesn't, I don't get the sense of real anger or resentment towards him, because I think they realize why a move to Bayern or, let's say, another club abroad would hold quite an appeal for him.
Bayern is very much under pressure with all of this. My impression is that they didn't play their cards well, being so open about Kane being kind of their only option, and it feels a bit, if they can't sign him, like a defeat, and if they would sign somebody else like Kolo Muani, they it's not also a great it's not also a great striker that they're signing, maybe the one with a better future even, but like, second choice. And also,
right. Yeah.
And also, as I said, it's the price tag for Kolo Muani is probably much higher now than it would have been 4 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago.
I think you're right, Christoph. It was a very risky, or is a very risky endeavor to talk to Daniel Levy for the signing of Harry Kane, even though he's only got 1 year left, and you think the logic of the situation would make it easy to do deal. I think that's what they initially thought. They thought, okay, Harry Kane has said yes to us. That's the most important, that's the most difficult thing to pull off. A player who's got 1 year left, there's always an agreement to be found. But it might be a little bit different in this case. And it certainly didn't help that Uli Hoeneß came out and made all these statements about Tottenham buckling or caving in. That wasn't smart. I'm not sure it had that much of an influence, but it certainly did not help. And if it doesn't work out, of course, then you also have to question Bayern's strategy of being very cautious and incremental in their bids. They didn't say, okay, here's what we bid and maybe a little bit extra, and that's the deal. They went very low initially. I think 80 million euros, which you can say that's not low at all for players got 1 year left, but I think it was not realistic. And it then took them 3 or 4 weeks to get to the point where they are now. Mm-hmm. So a lot of time has passed, and now they're scrambling. And I think if they don't pull this off, then the new leadership of this club will be criticized for spending the whole summer targeting number one player, not getting him. That's something that's embarrassing for a club like Bayern, who always like to think that they can get any player in the world. Maybe not Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, or Mbappe, but in the level below. In their mind, they're always in contention for these players, and failing to pull this off would be seen as a failure for sure.